Too many organizations build plans that look great on paper, but never deliver the impact they hoped for. We're here to fix that. Welcome to Strategy and Culture Conversations, a podcast that explores the role of strategy, culture, and transformation in building thriving organizations. I'm your host, Trina McCarroll, and I'm glad that you've joined us today as part of our communities of courageous leaders from across Alberta. In each show, we'll share our success stories and lessons learned as we create thriving, high-performing organizations and shape the future of work in our province. Let's dig in. Welcome to Strategy and Culture Conversations. Why do so many plans disappoint expectations? Often it's because strategy, culture, and transformation are treated as separate conversations. But I believe the biggest impact for your customers comes from thriving teams, not only plans on paper. Whether your customers are students, citizens, patrons, or whole communities, your teams are the ones who deliver services to them. And that's what we'll explore on this podcast, building thriving, high-performing teams who deliver the most impact for your customers. High-performing teams need to operate within thriving organizations. These are built with the coherent strategy, connected culture, and compelling transformation. But this kind of integration doesn't happen by accident. It takes courage and intentional leadership. I'm Trina McCarroll, founder of McCarroll Consulting. I'm an award-winning facilitator and consultant with nearly 20 years of experience helping leaders build high-performing teams who deliver big impact. I created this video podcast, Strategy and Culture Conversations, to showcase success stories from across Alberta and Western Canada, and to create a space where we can learn from one another. If you're a leader in the public sector or with a purpose-driven organization, such as municipalities, post-secondary institutions, agencies, boards, commissions, associations, you are in the right place. You're likely leading through uncertainty, working with tight budgets, navigating shifting expectations, and trying to help your teams adapt, align, and deliver. In each episode on the show ahead, we'll talk about the real work of change, what it takes to align your strategy, shape your culture, and create transformation that actually delivers. Here at McCarroll Consulting, we talk about building thriving organizations. That starts with 3 overlapping pillars. 1, coherent strategy. 2, connected culture. And 3, compelling transformation. And through these pillars runs a single thread: courage. It takes courage to develop strategy, collaborating with your team to make intentional choices and trade-offs that position your organization to succeed, and then to do the hard work of implementing. It also takes courage to build culture, deliberately translating your values into behaviors and practices that inspire and strengthen your team each day. And it also takes courage to transform, leading change throughout the organization in a human-centered way, with both accountability and care to achieve big impact. When strategy, culture, and transformation are approached in silos, things begin to break down. You can get a strategic plan or department plan that only gets looked at once a year, or a culture where staff feel unseen in their efforts or unequipped for the task ahead, or transformation initiatives that all talk and no traction. But we approach team building in a really integrated, intentional way. Rarely are organizational challenges purely about one pillar alone. Often areas in all 3 pillars need to be strengthened. So when you intentionally weave culture, strategy, and transformation together, that's when things really start to shift. Momentum builds because people see what they're part of, why it matters, how they fit, and they want to contribute their best. 2 of the most formative experiences came where I learned about the need to integrate these 3 pillars early in my career. I was once facilitating a board retreat to update their vision, mission, and values for their organization. Some members were at odds about their organization should head in the future, and that's normal and to be expected. But in this case, one board member was particularly dismissive to others, even aggressive. He was well-meaning and thought he was being passionate about strategy, but he had limited regard for the board's or the organization's culture. Between meetings, I pulled the chair and the board member aside and reminded them who you want to be as an organization is just as important as where you're trying to go. That really shifted something. The board member thankfully made amends and changed their approach. I helped the group realign and they landed on a vision that felt really shared and exciting for the future. Another memorable example came during a strategic planning process with the municipal police service. We ran multiple workshops with officers and civilian staff to ensure everyone could participate. Together, they articulated not just their strategic priorities, but also their culture, how they served, how they showed up, what mattered to them. They were passionate, and it was really clear that their culture was one of their best assets, and they built a plan around it that they collectively really believed in. These moments reinforce something I've come to believe deeply. You cannot lead strategy, culture, and transformation in isolation. They inform one another, and when they're properly aligned, people often wholeheartedly commit to the vision and the challenging work needed to get there. Looking ahead in the episodes to come on the show, I'll be sharing my own reflections, as well as interviews with exceptional leaders from across Alberta. You'll hear real conversations, case studies, practical tools, and stories from senior leaders in the thick of this complex, demanding leadership work. So as we close today, here's a question I'll leave you with. How integrated are your strategy, culture, and transformation efforts right now? Where might they need to be reconnected? So thanks for tuning in to our first episode of Strategy and Culture Conversations. I'd love to stay connected. Send me a note or connection request on LinkedIn or sign up for our newsletter below to hear about our new episodes coming soon. Thank you for the difference you make through your leadership. And cheers to teams creating greater impact through strategy, culture, and transformation. And a whole lot of courage. I'll see you next time. Thanks so much for joining us for today's episode of Strategy and Culture Conversations. If you found our discussion valuable, be sure to leave a review to grow our community and sign up for our newsletter at strategyandculture.ca to stay in the loop. Cheers to courageous leadership. I'll see you next time.